Welcome back to Rhythm Guitar Book 3, which takes a deep dive into all sorts of movable chord shapes. We're on pages 118 through 120. In this lesson, you're going to learn the movable E7sus4 shape. You can watch all these videos for free, but it's going to be a lot easier to learn if you have your own copy of Rhythm Guitar 3 that you can read from and write in, plus you can help support a music teacher. So I'll leave a link in the description. The 7sus4 chord can be notated with the 7, S-U-S, and the number 4, or just a 7 and the letters S-U-S. I include the number 4 in my books, but you'll see the 7sus without the 4 in plenty of books and music. Cool thing about these 7sus4 chords: the only difference between a dominant 7 chord and a minor 7 chord is the third of the chord. There is no third in a sus chord, so the 7sus4 can be used as a variation of a minor 7 chord. For that reason, whenever you encounter a minor 11 chord, you can play any of the 3 7sus4 shapes that you'll find in this section of the book. The E7sus4 shape comes out of the E7 shape. Here's the full version of the E7 shape. And you'll see why we're using the full version in just a minute. To change that to an E7sus4 type of shape, here's the third of the chord, raise it 1 fret, it becomes the fourth of the chord, and now you have an E7sus4 shape. The root is on the 6th string, so this would be an A7sus4 that I'm playing. If I move it up a fret, now it's a B flat 7sus4. The reason I'm basing this off the full E7 shape has to do with difficulties with string muting. If I'm strumming and I use the E7 shape and change that to an E7sus4 shape, I need to move this note right here out 1 fret. And you just, unless you have a longer finger than I do, that's really, really difficult to do. Much easier to do if you do this just changing the E7 shape, the full E7 shape. That being said, if you're finger picking, then you could do the E7 shape here, and then the E7sus4 shape here with a bar. As a matter of fact, if you're finger picking and you don't have to worry about string muting at all, you can simply just bar everything with your first finger when you do the E7 shape. Use your second finger on the 3rd string, and then your 3rd finger on the 4th when you change it to an E7sus4. So this way, the full way, is the way you'll want to do it if you are strumming. And if you're finger picking, go ahead and just do it like this, and just pick the fingers, pick the strings, I should say, that you need. At the top of page 119, we have number R150, this E7sus4 shape etude. Let's take a look at these chords. And by the way, the first half of this, I'm going to play using a pick, so you can see how to finger it using that way. And then the second half, I'm going to switch to just finger picking. We begin with the C7sus4, and this will be our new shape. And again, I'm using the full version of this, which will be finger 1, 3, 1, 4, and 1, 1. So a lot of barring there. Then we change to a C7 using the E7 shape, so that has the root on the 6th string as well. So keep that root at the 8th fret, and then play your your C7 using the E7 shape, and then an F major chord using either the C shape or the A shape. And I'm going to use the C shape. Now you can play whichever shape you want, or you could go back and forth, sometimes do the C, sometimes do the A shape, doesn't matter. Either way, you're going to do those same shapes every single progression here. Then we have an F7sus4 with our new shape. That will put us down at the end of the fretboard at the 1st fret. Notice we do have some of those Roman numerals to help us here. Then an F7, and then a B flat major. Now we can't do the C shape here because we don't have any room left on the fretboard, so that will be with the A shape at the 1st fret on the 5th string. Line 2, B flat 7 sus4 at the 6th fret. You just need to switch one finger to make it a B flat 7, and then an E flat major. I'm going to go back to the C shape for this one, but you could use whichever shape you want. Then an E flat 7 sus4 way up at the 11th fret. If you have trouble reaching that, that's okay. Just do your best and then move on. E flat 7, then an A flat major. This time I'm going to use the A shape again at the 11th fret. A flat 7 sus4 at the 4th fret. A flat 7 and D flat major. This time I'm going to use the C shape, but again you can use whichever shape you like. D flat 7 sus4 up at the 9th fret, then D flat 7, and then G flat major, also at the 9th fret. I'm going to use the A shape again. And as I mentioned, I'm going to lose the pick right now and switch to just using fingers, so we can go through the rest of this using the fingering you might choose if you are just playing fingerstyle, no pick. So this F sharp 7 sus4, if I'm using fingers only on with my right hand and I don't have to worry about any string muting, I'm just going to bar these 6 strings and use my 3rd finger to play the 4th of this chord. And then I just need to play with my 2nd finger to change that to an F sharp 7. And then a B major, and we can't really do the C shape here, so that will be with the A shape. B7 sus4, so take that same fingering, just move it up to the 7th fret, to a B7, to an E major. I'm going to use the C shape here. E7, sus4 at the 12th fret. Again, not too comfy, but just do the best you can. Whoops. There it is. I hit the wrong string. E7, then A major. Let's do the A major with the A shape. A7 sus4 at the 5th fret. A7, D major. I'll use the C shape here. You can use whichever shape you like. D7 sus4 at the 10th fret. D7. And then the G major, I'll use the A shape here. G7 sus4 at the 3rd fret. G7. And C major, I'll use the A shape. Once you're comfortable finding and playing those chords, go ahead and play through the exercise at a nice easy pace, nice easy tempo. I showed you a couple different fingerings. I'm going to use the finger style way. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. On page 120, we have exercise R151, this major progression with the E7sus4 shape. Let's take a look at these chords. Beginning, we have a G minor 7 using the C minor 7 shape. That shape has the root on the 5th string, so the G on the 5th string is at the 10th fret, and that's where you place your root for the C minor 7 shape. There's your G minor 7, and then a C7 sus4 using your new shape. Now, cool thing about this shape, if I'm doing the strummy version, where I have to use all my fingers, these 2 fingers can stay put. All I have to do now is bar all 6 strings, and I've got my C7 sus4 right there. And then a C7, and then an F major using either the C shape at the 8th fret, root at the 8th fret, or the A shape with the root at the 8th fret. And you can use either shape for those major chords, either the C shape or the A shape, although once you get down toward the end of the fretboard, you might not have enough room and have to do the A shape. From this point, we're going to be doing those same shapes over and over again. Next, we have an F minor 7, so that will be with the root at the 8th fret with the shapes we're using. B flat 7 sus4, again, keep fingers 3 and 4 in place, just bar all 6 strings, and you have a B flat 7 sus4. And then change 1 finger, you got a B flat 7, and then use the whichever shape you like for the E flat. Let's say A shape for this one. Then line 3, E flat minor 7. So we just got done playing an E flat major. Same root, we just have to change fingers because of the shape we're using. A flat 7 sus4. A flat 7. And then a D flat major. I'll just use the A shape again. And at this point, I'm going to ditch the pick and just use fingers for the rest of this exercise so we can practice the other 4 lines with the fingering you would use if you're playing just fingerstyle. C sharp minor 7 with the shape we're playing, that will be with the root on the 5th string at the 4th fret. F sharp 7 sus4, again for this shape with the fingers playing, you just have to bar everything. 3rd finger plays that 4th on the 3rd string, and you don't have to worry about string muting because we're just picking the strings we need anyway. And then we just change 1 finger to turn it into an F sharp 7, and normally the F sharp 7 I would be playing with all 4 fingers. If I'm playing fingerstyle, I can just bar and use my 2nd finger on that other note. And then B major, this will have to be with the A shape because we're out of room here. That has the root on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. Next line, F sharp minor 7. Our root goes on the 9th fret. Then a B7 sus4. B7. E major. This time I will play with the C shape, but you can play with the A shape if you like. Now we keep the same root. We're going from E major to E minor 7, so just switch fingers so your 3rd finger is on that root at the 7th fret. A7 sus4, A7, and then D major. I'm going to use the C shape for this one. And last line, D minor 7, keep the same root, but just change fingers. G7 sus4, G7, and C major. I will play with the A major shape. Once you're comfortable finding and playing those chords, play through the exercise. Easy pace, easy tempo. Play with pick or with just fingers, or practice both ways. I'm going to play with just fingers. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Your assignment is to practice the exercises on pages 119 and 120. And don't forget to order your own copy of Rhythm Guitar 3, the link is in the description. Take your time with this, and then when you're ready, I'll see you on page 121. You're going to learn the movable E7sus4 shape.